Hello everyone, this is Roxas1359. Welcome back to Let's Play A Boy and His Blob. Without further ado, let's begin a new game. You know, for what clearly was a meteorite impact, I'm surprised that didn't do more damage. So, already we are in control of our main protagonist. One of the two. The boy. And what are his controls? Well, I'll get to those in a minute, because for right now, this is sort of a little bit of a tutorial sort of thing. But, what am I playing this with? I am playing this with the Wii Classic Pro controller. This game supports the Wiimote Nunchuck, the Wii Classic controller, and a GameCube controller. I'm playing this on my Wii U right now, so there's no GameCube support. Anyway, controls for this are actually kind of weird if you're playing this on the Classic controller. You'll get used to it later on. But the B button is used for jumping, left analog stick is used to move around. You hit the plus button or the start button to pause it, and if you hit the minus button, you'll return to the hideout. Since the Classic Pro controller has more buttons than normal, certain of the buttons are repeated. We don't have full access to all of our controls yet, so I'll go over more of the controls once we end up getting with our other protagonist. And ow. I had hit the jump button and I died. So yes, these are our enemies, little dark blobs. Pretty much, boy, one hit, you're dead. That is how it works in this game. One hit and you are dead, so keep that in mind. There are no lives, there are no continues, otherwise that'd be pretty stupid in, you know, a game such as this. Now, we have rocks right here. You might have noticed that some of them are cracking when I jump on them. The more you jump on them, the more they'll end up cracking until finally they disappear. They will respawn over time like so. To go through doors, simply hit up on the analog stick. You have to watch out sometimes, though, because sometimes it's a little bit wonky. But I just love this sort of atmosphere and how this game is drawn. It's just so beautiful. Yes, there are loading screens in between each area, in which it's just going to be like a picture of the boy or one of the dark blobs that are around here. We're going to find many dark blobs throughout our story, but first things first, let's meet our other protagonist.
Ah! Come on.
The Blob.
Come on.
Aww. How adorable. So, now we have the boy and his Blob. Blob will be following us. To call Blob with you, you would hit the X button. If you hit the X button a few times...
Gotta go. Hurry up. Let's go.
Oh, I guess we can't do it yet because we don't have a certain Jellybean. There are going to be times in which Blob is in an area in which you need to call him back to you. If you hit the X button enough times, boy will whistle. What will end up happening after that is Blob will turn into a balloon and go right to him. So you'll always have them. Another interesting thing you can do.
Calm down.
You can hit down on the D-pad to scold Blob. But why would you do that when you can hit up and you can hug him? Never scold the Blob. Always hug him. That's why I love this game. It has a goddamn hug button. Alright, so here we have the chest that I was talking about. There are 3 chests inside every single stage, including the ones for a boss stage that would lead to a boss. The actual boss area itself will not have one. I believe if we go back over this way, there is another chest. I'm not going to be going after all the chests. They are actually pretty easy to get for the most part, but still not going after them. Yeah, see, look, there's a chest right there. And Blob will always end up going to eat the chest. Boy can't, you know, pick up the chests himself. One of the things that can be a problem some of the time in this game, because I have done a full practice file on this, and unfortunately I had to delete it, is Blob's AI sometimes is wonky, if that makes sense. Sometimes he'll see a chest, and he won't immediately go after it, which is a problem. I could have sworn there would be another... Oh, this is bad. I needed to wait for this thing. I might be able to jump over it. Most of the time, boy can't jump over anything, but luckily I was able to jump over that. So we have all 3 of the chests right now, so we are actually done with this little level. Nothing really much in this level. We don't have access to what the core mechanics in this game are yet, because we just needed to unite Boy and his Blob. So let's go back into the treehouse. Another little loading screen as such. And once we're here, if you have chests, Blob will come out and regurgitate them for you. Once you get all 3 of them, all lights will come out of them and form a new object inside of whichever place you're in. There are a total of 4 worlds in this game. Each one has its own unique things. Right now we're just inside the little treehouse. Man, that jar is so lucky it didn't break. And what is this? Looks like a jelly bean fell on the floor. And that is the core mechanic of this game, ladies and gentlemen. Different jelly beans will turn the Blob into other things.
Yeah!
And this right here is the victory animation and music that will play whenever you're pretty much done with the first area or whenever you're done with a level in general. So get used to that little jingle. Really do love it. I love Daniel Sadowski's track on this. Yet again, you can buy it on iTunes. Highly recommend it. So, next morning, a little sleep. Am I sleeping on the Blob? Huh. Well, let's get out of bed. Oh my, I was sleeping on Blob. Well, that was easy. But now that we know that Blob can eat jelly beans, I'm going to assume that Boy just ends up taking that with him. Now, you might be wondering, what is it that the chests and everything will do? Let's go up here. You can notice the little light right here. Hit the B button in the light, and you have 1. These are bonus levels that are a little bit more challenging than the actual ones in the game. As I said before, I'm not going after all the chests in the game. I will go after chests for the most part. The whole reason why I'm not going after all of them is because of the 4th world. The 4th world has some chests that are just really annoying to get. But here we have our map for the 1st world, in which we have all these different levels until we get to what looks like a city. So let's continue on through this one. None of the levels have names, mind you, but there are different tracks that end up playing through it. I believe the first one that's going to be playing is Shaded Plains, which is one of my favorite tracks in this entire game. Yep, this is Shaded Plains. Alright, so we have different jelly beans right here. The thing about the jelly beans, you hit the Y button to bring up the menu for it. Scroll through them with the analog stick. As you can see, we only have 3 jelly beans right now. This jelly bean right here, the balloon one, I'm going to call it Blueberry Balloon, will always be inside your inventory no matter what. I don't understand why, because you can simulate the same effect.
Hurry up. Let's go this way. Blob.
Huh, it's odd. Normally I could. I was doing it last time. Maybe I have to...
Blob! This way. Let's go. This way.
Dang it, it's not doing it. It was doing it in my practice file. Basically, Blob will turn into the Blueberry Balloon all he wants. Now we have, I'm going to call this one Cherry Hole, and this one is Licorice Ladder. So, right here, pretty much throw the jelly bean down with the A button, and Blob will turn into it wherever he can. There are certain areas in which Blob can't get to when it comes to a jelly bean, and you have to watch out for that. Because what ends up happening is he'll sort of freak out about that. Now, Blob luckily can go in between platforms like this. Certain platforms in this game are solid, some of them aren't. You'll see what I mean later on in the game, believe me. Hit the Y button to turn Blob back into, you know, Blob out of his current form, so then you can end up using another jelly bean. The thing about jelly beans is you can only use 1 at a time. Only 1 can be thrown out at a time. After that, the next jelly bean you throw out will cause the other one to disappear if Blob has not eaten it. Now, while Blob is transformed, you can throw out another jelly bean, call it, and Blob will instantly go to the jelly bean. His AI is programmed to just instantly go towards the jelly beans. Alright, so let's go back over this way, because it looked like there was something up over here. I believe it's a treasure chest. For the most part, I know where most of the treasure chests are, because this is one of the few rare games in which I will actually do another playthrough right after I currently have finished it. And that's because I think this game has a lot of replayability factor for it. Being a puzzle platformer, it has a lot of solutions that you can end up discovering yourself or by sheer accident. I know I had a few of those inside of my practice file. I'm pretty sure we're going to be having that throughout the rest of this. Now, when it comes to Jellybeans, Jellybeans are specific to each level. So, while we have only 3 right now, we will get more later on, and some of them might not show up in other levels. You just have to pretty much use what you are given to get to the end of the level. The end of the level is going to be marked by a golden jelly bean, so you'll always know when you're there. Right, and this way, and here's the last chest.
This way.
I find that the first world is extremely easy to get a lot of the chests because, you know, it's still the beginning of the game. It's once we start getting, probably until the 3rd world is when they start to make some of the chests pretty difficult. That's for sure. But we have a new type of dark blob enemy. These things are annoying. If they see you, they'll get angry and charge at you. Luckily, they cannot jump. But just like all other dark enemies, if they end up hitting you, you're instantly dead. Come on. Into the hole. Now, you need to watch out sometimes when you're using cherry hold, because sometimes those little guys love to run right over it. It's a bit random at times, but yeah, you gotta plan ahead. But here's the end of the level. Blob eats the golden jelly bean, and a door shows up to go into the void. Huh. That's safe. It's clearly safe. And speaking of the little dark blob, and you might notice that there's a little red outline. You don't see it much in the gameplay, but there actually is a little slight red outline on actually all the enemies, which is something that I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love the presentation of this game visually, and it really has that Wayforward charm to it, where everything looks like a hand-drawn sprite and animation, which is why I love it. You can skip this with the B button if you so wish. So, now that that one's done, let's go on to the 3rd level. Now, you're going to be noticing that motifs end up changing the more we get onto the map, and the music will change as well. I don't remember the entire soundtrack, but there are certain tracks that I remember because they're on my iPod because I bought them. Right, so let's see what we have for this one. We have a nighttime level. And here we have Spikes. Spikes are instant death for Boy. Pretty much everything is instant death for Boy. In fact, if he jumps too high and falls too far, he will actually die. So you need to keep that in mind. But we have a new jelly bean. What shall I christen this one? Let's go with pineapple trampoline.
Blob.
Come on, Blob. Eat the pineapple trampoline. And just as it is a trampoline. The more you jump on it, the higher you can get. If you hit the B button, you can get higher distance. You need to watch out, however, because, again, if you go too far, it will result in, you know, Boy shattering his ankles and dying. I already killed one boy in the first tutorial level. I wonder how many I'm going to end up killing in this. Anyway, rocks such as this, you can use them to kill dark blobs. Certain dark blobs are invincible, but we're not going to be seeing the invincible dark blobs until World 3. That is the earliest that we will ever see them. That is way too far. Now, you might notice this little arc that I'm doing with the jelly beans. You can move the arc around with the analog stick, so you can curve it down. You can throw it just straight down so then it bounces. Because there is a bouncing mechanic based with these jelly beans, and they will arc, so you need to watch where you're launching them to make sure that you do it correctly. Right, so let's do this one. I see a chest right there. And?
Blob! Over here! This way!
There we go. And here's him turning into the blueberry balloon, which, again, I don't understand why we have that one with us. Because there's only one area in the game in which I could actually see why we'd use it. Alright, let's see if... Okay, he turned into it, so... Whew, managed to save myself on that one. Sometimes you'll have to make leaps of faith, but there's better ways than what I did. Right, water. Boy can't swim, so don't go into water. Like, ever. Come on, Blob. Eat the jelly bean. Boing. Boing. Alright, and let's go down this way. Looks like we have something over here, so...
Hey! Over here! Blob!
Oh no, he's getting frustrated!
Hey!
Okay. Now that you might have noticed that Blob was changing red. When Blob can't get to an area, he starts to get frustrated, so he turns a little red. It's kind of cute, but I always feel bad for him, so... There you go, Blob. Yes, I love the fact that this game has a hug button. I love that. Right, cherry hole, so into the water, because luckily, dark blobs can't swim either. No one in this world can swim. Now, you might be wondering, if we can't swim, then how will we deal with water in general? There is something that we're going to be getting later on. I love all the power-ups in this game, bar probably... Honestly, probably only one power-up in this entire game that I am not a fan of, but we won't be seeing that one until quite a while, so there's no worries there. Right. The only thing that I find annoying sometimes when I don't have Licorice Ladder is that I have to constantly put down Pineapple Trampoline. I hope I remember all these names I'm giving these Jellybeans, because I never found out if these Jellybeans actually have official names or not. The only reason I know about, like, calling it Licorice Ladder is because a long time ago, when I was first exposed to this game, that was Scottish Duck 17's LP of A Boy and His Blob, and when I first saw that, I just loved it. Come on, Blob.
Over here.
Come, Blob. Now eat this. Now let's jump over it, and let us crush you to death, even though I technically don't need to. Now, you might be wondering, okay, so in the first level, we ended up having doors like this. They would take us to new areas. For the most part, these will always take you to chests. The only exception for that will be in the fourth world. And most of the time, there will be puzzles inside here to get to the chest. I love the little firefly effect. This is great. Now, one interesting thing about these chests, actually, Boy can't actually, like, destroy these chests, even if he jumps on them or anything. These chests actually can get destroyed through certain methods, mainly by the stage itself. But just like how the rocks are, if the chest gets destroyed, it will just respawn to where it originally is. We won't be seeing that for quite a while. And we ended up back out here, which is a little bit back. Not too much, though, because here is the end of the level. So, eat that, and... there we go. All you have to do is touch onto the gold jelly bean, and once you do that, you're pretty much immune, because sometimes there will be enemies that will try to blindside you at the last second if you're not careful. But the moment you touch that gold jelly bean, Boy is invincible, because it's just going to be doing the ending animation. The only time it would take a little bit longer is if, you know, Blob is being a bit slow. God bless this Blob. Now puke up my chest. Interesting thing about the chests as well is that no matter how many you have, if you have one or two, it'll show part of whatever it is trying to make. Once you get all three, it will show it. As you can see, the other one from level 2 was an Easter Island head, but I ignored it. Now it's a propeller. Alright, so now on to the 4th level, which I believe should still be playing Shaded Plains. And you can go back to any level you want by going on the map, just simply use the analog stick to scroll around, and hit the B button to select a level. So, let's go to the 4th level. World 1 has the most levels out of all of them, with World 4 having the least. World 4 only has 8, and that's including the boss one, because the boss one is always the same. Right, so looks like we have a new jelly bean on our hands. We have a parachute, so... what should I call this one? Because I want to be topical.
Hey!
Well, for starters, let's just throw it down. Blob will turn into a parachute, and what Boy does is he puts it in his backpack. Whenever you jump, hit the B button again, and the parachute will come out. You will be using this one a lot, so what shall I christen this for my first parachuting adventure? I shall christen you Apple Parachute. Now, with this one, pretty much you're just falling slowly. You can retract the parachute if you want with the B button, which I will be using sometimes for this. You can also hit down to actually gain a little bit of speed whenever you're doing this. And we have a new type of Dark Blob. These things are mines. These things are annoying. You gotta watch out for them because they have a large splash damage area. Whoa. Ooh, that was close. Right. Let us wait. There we go. And eat that chest, Blob. That's a good Blob. Right. Apple Parachute, go! Alright. And let's scroll down before I get hit by that, because... No, there's a chest right there. Oh well. I said I wasn't going for all the chests, so you know that one's there. Sometimes, in cases like this, you will miss chests that are right there, so... oh well. Again, said I wasn't going for all of them, so I'll go for that one instead. Licorice Ladder. And climb up. See, I would probably be able to get that if I had pineapple trampoline, but, you know, I can only have 3 jelly beans for this one, and for some reason I keep on taking blueberry balloon. Alright, going up. I love these backgrounds. Right, and falling. Okay, good. Whew.
Let's go. Ready?
Come on, Blob.
Hey.
That's a good Blob. I love the little sound effect Blob makes whenever he eats something, too. And we're already at the end of the level. Yeah, pretty short. Don't worry, a few of these levels get a little bit longer. Trust me. And door into the void.